Okay, hello everyone and welcome back to MKXL. This is a video that's been a long time coming. It's just something that I've had to kind of rethink over and over again to make sure that I've got everything right. And that is a countdown of what I currently think are the worst characters in MKXL. Now, of course, the recent patch that came out, well actually not recent, it's been a few months, has changed a lot of things in the game, and there's been a lot of rebalancing. Some characters fell, some characters rose up from the ashes, but generally I think in the current meta, these characters basically cannot compete as well as the other characters. Does not mean that they are completely unviable. For how many variations and characters there are in this game, most of it is pretty well balanced. It's just the problem with most of these characters I'm gonna count down is that there are either better variations of the same character or other characters that do the same thing but 1,000 times better. So yeah, this is gonna be a top 5 and I'm immediately gonna start number 5 off by cheating because this is I think a tie. So technically this is a top 6, but I genuinely couldn't pick between these two variations, and the first character we're gonna look at is Pretty Lady Leatherface. Okay, so let's go over and talk about why I think Pretty Lady Leatherface is so terrible. Honestly, I don't think Leatherface is that bad overall as a character, but I think he's pretty underused. Like, this is pretty godlike. His down 4 sucks, even though it has good range. I mean, compare this to like Predator's or Borracho's down 4, and it sucks. Generally, his footsies are not the best. Everything is kind of slow, except for, like I said, this move is godlike. However, the problem is that whereas the other variations of Leatherface kind of compensate for this, you know, Killer has the killer stance, which is excellent. Butcher has the hammer normals and the forward, I think it's down forward 2 that makes everything safe. This variation, because it is so focused on zoning, doesn't really compensate for any of that. His footsies are as basic as you can get. It's pretty much variationless Leatherface. The only thing he has is the saws. And honestly, I think that as far as zoning characters go, there are a lot better options than Pretty Lady Leatherface. Honestly, even with everything considered, zoning in this game is still not the best option, I would say. Some characters are good at zoning, but I think with Leatherface, it's really easy to get in on him. Like, even if I play a good Pretty Lady online, which is not often, I never have trouble finding a way in. Whereas I would have trouble finding a way in against a Quan Chi summoner or even maybe a balanced Kanshi sometimes. So I think as far as zoning goes, this guy is probably the worst zoner. And even then, again, summoner Quan Chi is very good up close. Balanced less so, but then you have possessed with Kanshi. So this variation I think is pretty much obsolete. If you want to play a zoner, you have better options. If you want to have Leatherface, pick one of his other variations. You know, this is like one of the things he can do, which I guess is pretty good. No one blocks this, but it's something you can maybe pull off once in a while. And then, of course, I haven't even touched upon issues like the fact that some of his optimal combos miss against female characters. So yeah, honestly, it's not even worth bothering with this character. Okay, so still at the number 5 spot, we have, in my opinion, Lackey Ferrator. Again, he falls into the same category as some of the other characters in this list, in that if you want to play Ferrator, at this point, pick Ruthless. Ruthless is excellent. Vicious, still kind of good. Lackey, unfortunately, was really hurt by the removal of armored launchers in this game. Because the main thing with Lackey used to be this move. The down back 2 EX. This move was pretty much godlike. Any gap in a character's pressure, be it sector, I don't know, who else is like big gaps? Even someone like Scorpion with the 214. You could pretty much counter poke with this, and it could lead into massive damage. I haven't played Ferrotor in ages, so I kind of forgot his most optimal stuff. But I know that he can get like 40% off of this, which for counter poke when it was armored was godlike. People actually feared this, but even like that, that's 34%. So people like really feared and respected this character when you played against him. And you know, he could still be zoned out, but when he was in your face, he was scary. Now, of course, this character was completely destroyed with the removal of armored launchers. He now has this as an armored move and this. But the main reason to pick Lackey Ferrotor is entirely gone. He still has a decent command grab, but Ruthless has the exact same command grab. God, I can't talk while playing this game. He has the same range and properties to the command grab. The down one is godlike, but you know, for down one, you're not gonna pick a character for his down one. And his damage is good, but again, there's Ruthless for damage. So yeah, with the armored launcher removal, this character has pretty much 100% become obsolete in the face of Ruthless. Still a cool character. I still like Lackey Ferrotor overall as a design, but he is definitely in the top 5 worst variations in my opinion. Okay, next up at number 4 on the list, we have Warrior Predator. Another character that was really hurt by the recent patch. I always thought that Warrior used to be decent up until the latest patch. I think they completely destroyed him. I know NRS wanted to remove armored launchers, but I think really for some variations to stay viable in the game, they should have kept them. And this variation should have been one of them. Not only to have an actual purpose for picking this character, but also to take the spotlight away from Hishkuten. It seems like ever since Predator came out way back, NRS has been trying to make the other two variations somewhat viable, and they really screwed up by removing the one thing that made Warrior good. And that was that he had a godlike armored move. And this armored move is still good. I think it now has 2 hits of armor. Not that it matters because it's lightning fast. Look at how fast this is and safe. But the problem is it doesn't launch. And now you're sacrificing a bar for 12% of damage. And the thing is, unlike Melina, you know, and some other characters, the normal version doesn't launch either. I think what they should have done if they removed the armor is change the properties to like the ball roll, where, you know, like the normal one launches but the EX one doesn't. Here it's like what? You get 17%, 18%. And if you want to go in for the big damage, the actual stuff that makes him count, you still have to risk it because the scimitar stab is still a risk. And this character has no other way of full comboing other than this air dash. But then again, here you're sacrificing a bar, and this is a little bit predictable. There's no way to combo in. I think this might combo. I'm not sure. No, it doesn't. I know some of this stuff I think combos, but not all of it. Of course, the other option you have is the self-destruct. The self-destruct might seem decent. However, it is the type of move that you'll probably be able to get off or sneak in once or twice during a set. But anytime you're playing someone who knows what they're doing, you're gonna have a bad time. I mean, Predator is still decent in many respects. Down 4 is still godlike. A lot of his footsies. But when you consider that Hishkuten has cancels and he has the zoning, yeah, there is once again 0 reasons to pick Warrior Predator. I think what they really should have done is gave the cancels to... They should have gave the cancels to another variation, specifically this variation. I don't know, maybe you could like cancel out of the self-destruct or something. because it's kind of ridiculous that the zoning variation also has the ridiculous pressure. Again, if you want to play Predator, play anyone but a warrior, unless you are, I don't know. Again, I'm not saying with any of these that you shouldn't play and you can't win with these variations. It's just, it's gonna be a lot more of a struggle. Okay, next up at number 3, we have good old Outlaw Aaron Black. I really think that Aaron Black is considered to be one of the worst characters in the current patch, and I do apologize for my gameplay. I do not play this character. This is probably the character out of the list that I've the least experience with, so excuse my execution here. Now, to get back to Aaron Black, a lot of people think he's pretty weak overall in this patch, and I kind of agree. I still think Gunslinger has a lot of things going for it. However, Outlaw at this point has no things going for it. This character, the appeal of Outlaw used to be 2 things: mix-ups and chip damage in the corner. However, with the removal of armored launchers, this used to be armored, and the slowing down of his overhead, I mean, look at how slow this is. The whole appeal of this character has been lost. You are basically playing a worse version of Gunslinger. This character has no form of pressure at all, unless you sacrifice meter. And you know, pressure in this game is a big thing. It's one of your main forms of offense. I think in this patch more so than mix-ups. And again, with Outlaw, you are sacrificing all forms of pressure. Nothing he does is really plus, again, unless you do this. And even this can be poked out of by certain characters. Honestly, now that the mix-up potential is gone, there is no reason to ever go for this character. And sure, in the corner, if you're good, if you get lucky, you might be able to set some stuff up. You can get this and this going, and that deals pretty good chip. In fact, it deals very good chip. However, all of those things do not compensate for what this character lacks. The EX stand is probably one of the most worthless moves in the entire game. Why would you ever sacrifice a bar for this? I know some people have showed that you can like prevent people from jumping out of the corner, but really that for a bar I think is not worth it at all. So again, if you're still sticking it with Aaron Black, I think at this point probably 99% of Aaron Black players use Gunslinger, and they only go to Outlaw if they want to torture themselves, because this variation really is a shadow of its former self, which is kind of unfortunate because I always thought this character was pretty unique. But yeah, he's just a worse version of Gunslinger with no pressure and no zoning. Unfortunately, yeah, this variation I think is pretty much dead. Haven't even mentioned the fact that all of his unique strings have no purpose at all. I mean, like, what the fuck is this string for, honestly? Looks cool, but why would you ever use this? At number 2 on our list, we have good old classic Inferno Scorpion. Now, I think even up until now, I still get rocked by Inferno Scorpions online. You know, if the conditions are just right, if the Scorpion player is just random enough, this character can really frustrate you. And I think in the beginning, a lot of people, including me, who were new to the game, were super frustrated with this character. However, in this current patch, where I personally think ninjutsu is one of the most potato characters in the game, requiring very little execution for very good results, and the debate going on about whether Hellfire is top 10 or not, I think personally Hellfire is top 10. He's an excellent character. So when you have those conditions, Inferno really is pointless. This is probably the most pointless variation in the game that currently exists, because all three variations of Scorpion do similar things. It's all about this and then going into a mix-up. However, Ninjutsu has godlike footsies. Hellfire has good cancels, like really good cancels. Even with the stamina changes, he is a huge danger. Plus the aura. The aura is gotta be one of the best like moves to just like stop people on our tracks. Sorry, again, I don't play a lot of Inferno. And then you have this character. What does he get? This move, which is useless except maybe for doing something like this. You have this move which has decent tracking, but like if this gets blocked, you are done for. I think you can pretty much run in full screen and punish it. And finally you have this, which is supposed to be zoning, but it is highly reactable. And I mean, it's 9%. What do you really have to fear? You block, you go in, you block, you go in, and there's no way to direct this thing. The EX version of each of these moves is completely worthless. I know, I think Rio showed some tech where you can make this super plus, but is that really worth it when you have Hellfire? The other problem is, well, you know, the thing they added is that the EX versions of these is plus, but this character has no way to deal pressure at all. Which is a little bit weird because Ninjutsu and Hellfire have great pressure. Pretty much, you live or die by the mix. If either of these things that I just did, unless you do the EX spear, gets blocked, you are done for. It's pretty much a full combo guaranteed, easy punish every time. So it's not even like, you know, punishing, I don't know what. Can't think of anything off the top of my head, but you know, there are moves that are supposed to be negative, but are not really. This is a super easy punish. And still, you know, Scorpion has good tools generally. This variation still gets good damage, but aside from trolling people online by picking Sky Temple and the infrared version, there is no serious reason competitively, or even if you like play online, to really pick this character. And finally, in the number one spot, we have Drunken Master Borracho. I think anyone who plays Borracho or pays attention to the forums and things like that probably saw this coming. I think probably 90% of people consider Drunken Master to be the worst variation in the game. I personally think he is. It's kind of a shame, honestly, because I think they really nailed the Drunken Master kind of character style. I mean, this guy flops around, he farts, he has this stance where he goes into the, how do you do it? There we go, the sexy pose. He can roll out of it, a bunch of stuff. This character is really cool. It's just a shame that he sucks. I think NRS really dropped the ball with the drinking mechanic. I think this character is supposed to be somewhere between Bartitsu and Dragon's Breath. You know, Bartitsu is more mix-ups, Dragon Breath is more pressure. I think this guy is supposed to be somewhere between the two. However, this mechanic is completely busted, and when I say busted, I don't mean in a good way. Here's the thing, you have this move, and this is the only move you get when you're not drunk. At least, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the only move. And then you can drink. However, as soon as you do this, as soon as you do down down one, you are putting yourself on a timer. And this timer is honestly the equivalent of being under pressure. And this game is already extremely pressure oriented. And putting yourself on a timer really doesn't complement that. It's kind of the same deal with the explosion that Predator gets, except 10 times over. Like, imagine you drink and you mess something up against something like Dragon's Fire Liu Kang. You are on a timer, you're gonna puke, and he's cancel pressuring you. It's like, what the hell are you supposed to do? You're basically adding an extra burden on yourself as soon as you drink. However, you need to drink to unlock the reason to play this character. Otherwise, you might as well be playing variations Borracho, and I'm pretty sure he even gets the spit in when you pick variations. Hold on, let me check that. Doesn't he get? I'm like almost certain he does. No, he doesn't. Okay, I'm wrong, but still, this character is just not worth it. If you want the best variation of Borracho, I personally think it's Dragon's Breath, but Bartitsu is perfectly viable as well. Really, again, such a shame, but in this kind of game environment with all the pressure and the cancel characters and things like that, you do not need to put extra pressure on yourself. I think what they really could have done, and I think I saw this somewhere for suggestions, what they really could have done is if they had this move reset you back to level 0. And that would have actually made sense, because then you drink and you do the spit move and you're reset, you're safe. Other thing I have to mention is the down 4. This is one of Borracho's best moves. If we go into the corner, in the other variations I mean, if he knocks you down, he goes into this, and he pretty much goes into another mix-up. Now this is the thing, in Drunken Master you have the option of drinking from this. Sorry, I'm not used to the input. There we go, it's kind of quick. But here, if you do this, you lose the very purpose of this move, because the drink actually allows the enemy to recover. So it's like, once again, do you put yourself on a timer? And this is the thing, like in the corner, Borracho has pretty lengthy combos. Lengthy at least when you're in the drunken state. It's like, do you go for a combo and do you potentially vomit midway through and drop it? Or do you sacrifice the very purpose of this move to drink and potentially allow the opponent to get out of the corner? Honestly, there's no good option. The good option in that situation is to pick Dragon Breath and go for that variation instead. And I know people say that this spit move is good, and I agree. However, the other variations have so many other good things that, yeah, this one move is not worth it at all. Unfortunately, NRS also seems to have ignored this character completely in the latest patch, which was really a shame. I was genuinely hoping for some changes. The other variations got it, this one didn't. So I think at this point, Drunken Master is pretty much as dead of a variation as you can get in the game, and definitely overall I think the worst variation in MKX. Such a shame, because I genuinely do like Borracho a lot. So yeah, that has been my top 5 worst variations in MKX. Again, if you like any of these characters and use them, don't get mad. First of all, this is just my opinion, and like I said at the beginning, I think this is a game where almost any character can be played and can be played at a successful level. It's just these characters definitely require more work than some of the other variations. Still, if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a like. Go ahead and discuss in the comments what you think are the worst variations, whether you agree with me or disagree with my picks. And yeah, just give me some ideas of who else might be really bad. Anyways, this has been an MKX countdown. I might do some more of these. I have some more ideas, maybe cover the best variations. And I also thought of making one of the most potato characters in the game. But we'll see, we'll see. Want to thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this episode of MKX. Hope to see all of you next time. Goodbye.